And I think OBS just looks like OBS restarted. Hopefully we're seeing this. Face looks white too. Let's see if that is working. Okay, so where do we leave off yesterday? So we're still working on this conversion. I say still working because it's been kind of slow. I left it yesterday. We converted or changed the app from going to ASP.NET for using Razor pages to using MVC just because the short name or subdomain that I was calling it was working. Couldn't get that to work with the Razor pages, so I tweaked it a lot. So when we finished up, we had this this controller action of index ready. And I took the liberty of going and adding in the logger and the meetup service that we're injecting. And I built these over the weekend. Technically, the meetup service I built in the last half hour essentially allows us to go and call our API from the web API. We don't directly reference the data projects or anything else because ideally I want these two apps to be on separate servers and not know about the database or anything else. So the way we have it working now is it's going to go inject the meetup service and then call this index method, which in theory should get a list of conferences. Now I hard coded the conference ID only because I was testing it out. And then I looked at the time and realized it was time for the stream. So I didn't bother testing it. So we're going to validate that the meetup service works now. So let's go take a look at the changes we made in the multi-tenant minute. Some of these changes I made last night / just before this, and that's to pull out from the context the short name, which for now I add into the context. I don't know if we're going to keep them in the context or not, but I added them there. Then there's this test here, which checks to see if the host name is not empty and the short name is not empty, we are going to want to attempt to load that. So if I pass in something like MVP summit events.info / MVP 2016, it should go to the database, get that conference, and then load that into the context. Now, probably don't want to do this every single call, which right now it's doing, except for in the event that the context is already populated. Ideally, this is going to go into some cache, and there'll be a one-time penalty lookup for it, and then after that, it'll just keep working. But for now, I'm just going to load it here and work with it. So then we're going to need to either pull out this conference from the context or conference ID when we get to the view. So if we look at the events view, I created a view that pretty much will just go through all the meetups that are in there. So you have a conference like the MVP Summit or TechEd that has one or more meetups. So this is just going to loop through all the meetups and put them out there. So let's go and take a look at the controller, which I already alluded to here. We're going to want to replace this hard-coded 16 with the actual conference ID. Now the conference ID is in the context now. And my computer is dying again. What the? 31 frames per second. Now it's down to 8. Now it's down to 5. What is happening? Let's see what's running. I restarted the computer. I wonder if there's things running in the background. I can't stop Docker because I need the database. Anything else running? Network is nothing. GPU is going nuts, but I would expect that's because I'm encoding. I should be writing encoding with this one, and this one's just display. CPU is not being used, and memory is totally fine. I don't know why OBS is complaining, but guess we'll see. So here we need to get the conference ID, which is in request.context.items. Why are you not working now? I'm pretty sure it was request. Request dot. Oh, it's HTTP context dot items dot, and I can do the keys, or I can do try get value and parse it. So I'm going to go with try get value for now. And we'll probably replace this with a better way of getting it. But for now, conference ID as object. I think I actually need to declare this as an object. And then ID equals or ID. Got it. In conference ID. Ooh, why is my head so big? I zoomed out. You can just see my eyes. I'm doing the Wilson impersonation. I gotta increase the width of the webcam. Let's do if request.get value, and we want the value of conference ID and out conference ID is object. If this is true, that means it was able to parse it. So now we need to convert conference ID as object to conference ID. And if not, we'll probably want to redirect at some point to redirect to event found. In the meantime, we'll just return view with in there. Okay. In this case, let's just put this as the conference ID. Spell it right, conference ID. What do you want here? It's not initial. Fine. So in if int try parse. Now a lot of people here would just do a direct parse, but I really hate doing it. So always try to do things the right way. And try parse conference object int conference ID int. What are you complaining about? I parse. Oh, wants a string and an object. Huh. Oh man, convert it. I don't want to convert it. Let's just do toString here. Gee, but we're gonna want to find a better way of just getting this here. Return view. Let's just put it to do in here. Do redirect to just do conference not found. Now, ideally, we don't need to do this because we're already doing it in the middleware, but until I get that middleware a little bit nicer and cleaner, we're going to have that problem. I'm going to keep this breakpoint here just to make sure we got everything going. And you probably want me to go this down. That syntax to me just seems weird, but it is what it is. And I don't need that anymore, so I need to make sure the API is running, because if not, it's going to complain. Let's get the API running. API should be up in a second. And I had to change the ports on this app too, because we're running the web service and the actual event. And eventually it will start. Let's go and start the web UI, based one. Start this in debug. Hopefully we get, oh, actually there's a couple of them. I will clear them. Actually, I did clear for this one. Let's clear that one. And I think I have one in service. Oh, where's this one? Nope. Eventually, we're going to come back here. It only works, though, if I click on the actual debug. Funny how that works, right? You can't debug an app until you hit debug. Let's see where we are. Loaded. It's executing. Yeah, ignore those errors. In the meetup service, I have two methods that aren't implemented, but I already coded the await part for it. We'll get to those. Finish up. So this should open up another window. Why is my machine crawling? Sorry if you're seeing this massive delay. Now it's green. Every time I look at it, it turns green, but when I'm actually using it, it feels like it's red. And I'm talking green and red in the Streamlabs. On that monitor there, it's monitoring the stream and it comes up with, red, yellow, green for statuses. And when my machine feels slow, it becomes red, and then I could look at the status and see things like this right now that are showing me 7 frames per second, and ideally this number should be a steady 60. Worst case scenario, like a 30 frames per second, but right now it's bouncing. It's not dropping any frames, it's just the CPU is having trouble keeping up. And I know over the weekend I messed around with the settings because I added a new webcam and kind of tweaked things a little bit. So I wonder if I got one of the GPUs wrong. I'll look at that after this because this is really killing me. Okay, so we got this. You know that this part worked. Now, if I got this correct, this should be MVP Summit Events.Info. I know in the past I've been using 2018 as the number, but in the local copy of the database, I don't have 2018. I only go up to 2016. So I'll have to use that one. Enter. And if I coded everything correctly, I should hit the breakpoints behind the scenes. Still running. You can see stuff populating here in the worker threads window. Also the first time the website, actually it's not the first time the website's running. Just make sure I didn't hit a breakpoint. The writers here, it has meetups, and there's no meetups with that conference ID. 16. Okay, that's cool. So there were no events with that ID, which is fine. That might be the case. So let's go to the database and see. I assume that there were events in there. So let's go open up and do a show all rows. Use the edit. It's really killing me. I restarted the machine prior to, and I don't know what's killing it. Annoying, that's for sure. Maybe the computer's tired like me. Been long 2 days of work. It's beginning of the year, which is review time at work. So I started working on reviews of team members and such. You're not shouldn't take that long. I actually thought I had a database window already open. It looks like I don't. So let's just jump to query console, the console. Play. I don't want to do that. Actually, I want to do this table. The events. I wonder if there's an update going on behind the machine since I ran. Since I restarted the computer. This has 120 rows. Close you. Where's my main event ID? Ones. Oh, I go up to 14. So let's just choose which one is. Number MVP 2010. So let's go here. Change this to MVP 2010. Breakpoint here, we got 11 meetups, which is good. Hit play, we should see event number repeated. There we go, all the different events. Cool. So we got that working. Now all we really need to do is kind of get the display similar to what we had. Oh, these SQL karaoke meetups are awesome. I'm going old school with the Zune and Xbox MVP party. Okie dokie. So let's see what we can do. Now we're kind of running. I started a little late. Let's see what the original site looks like. Chrome. Ticket events is down. So the only real way to do it is by looking at, I think I have to change this. I think I'll just take a screenshot of it, the screen, and kind of work with it, or at least change locally to tech at events so I can go to the MVP summit events. Notepad should be open. Let's open up the file. Docs. Open you up. Comment you out for a minute, save it. And then I should be able here to go to MVP Summit Events.Info, and that should go out to the real site. Or not. I might have to refresh IIS to do that. Because IIS is registered to handle it. Okay. So what I'll do is, in preparation for Thursday's screen, grab a couple of screenshots, and then we'll go through some of the customizations and showing that up there, like getting the themes, putting the theme on there, and all that stuff we did ahead of time. I'll get ready for that, and then we can style the site the way similar to the way it was using, which means I need to download the Bootstrap themes, which I have to figure out how to do because it's very different. I manually downloaded them all, which is a pain in the butt nowadays. Okay, sorry for the short stream, only 25 minutes, but we actually got it to work, get data out. Now it's time to actually do all the real work. Hope you got something out of it. Again, apologize for a short stream, but this speed is just killing me. It's very hard to present. There's a massive lag behind the scenes, so I gotta figure out what that is. Thanks for coming. Any questions, feedback, comments, feel free to reach out to me on any one of these social media ways. If not, have a great day. I'll chat with you sometime in the future.